Hey everyone, hope you all are well. I'm starting out today by priming the eye area with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I'm just adding a few swipes of this across the eye area, and now I'm using the Sigma 3D HD Precision Brush just to blend that primer into the skin. And the primer is going to allow our shadows to apply and blend nice and easily and last all day long as well. I'm using my Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette again today, and the first shade I'm taking is the one in the top left corner called Almond Truffle. It's a nice matte mauve eyeshadow, and I'm picking this up on a fluffy crease brush and I'm applying it into the crease of the eye. So I actually forgot to tap off the excess shadow off of my brush before applying to the eye, so I'm getting a boatload of colour now straight to the crease. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to leave this clip in real time and just show you how I blend it out and how long it takes. It's always just much harder to go in with a heavy layer of shadow. The blending process then is a bit more difficult. It takes a bit more time, which is why I always say to go in with light layers and build up the intensity instead until you reach an outcome that you're happy with. So I've just been using circular motions and sweeping motions, and once I've done that, then I'm swinging my brush up a bit higher and using larger motions with my brush just to fade the shadow out towards the brow bone. And I'm just going to leave it with that one layer. So now I'm going in with the shade Mocha. This is on the second row next to that purple eyeshadow. It's a lovely medium toned brown shadow with a matte finish to it. And I'm using a smaller blending brush just to get a bit deeper in the crease. And this one's from Sigma. And I'm running this shadow back and forth in the crease using circular motions. And then as always, when I reach that outer corner of the eye, I'm making sure just to flick my brush upwards and outwards at an angle to fade the shadow out towards the tail of the brow. And I was happy enough with how that layer looked, so I'm moving on to the next shade. So I'm picking up the shade Malted, which is in the very top right hand corner of the palette. It's a deepish kind of brown taupe eyeshadow, and again it has a matte finish to it. I'm using that same Sigma brush just to apply the shadow into the crease of the eye, and I'm rocking my brush back and forward, and as you can see with these shades the colour payoff is immense. They apply and blend really easily, and they're just a pleasure to work with. So I'm just using now small circular motions and pulling my brush higher up just to fade out those edges. What I like to do then is I like to go back in with the brush that I used originally to lay down that transition shade. I haven't picked up any more product on this brush. I'm just using the excess product on the brush to run over the edge of that malted shade just to fuse everything together. Now I'm taking the Trini London Eye to Eye shade called Universe. I haven't used these in a while and they're really great. They're a nice moisture enriched cream eyeshadow that you can use as a base. You can use it as an eyeshadow itself, or you can even use it as a liner. And the cool thing about these is they are stackable pots. So I'm using mine today as an eyeshadow base. I've just taken the small smudgy end of my double-ended brush that came with the Urban Decay Naked Cyber palette, and because it's synthetic it's going to apply this shade really easily. I'm just coating the entire lid. I'm not bringing it past the crease, but I am going to flip my brush around though and use the blending side just to fade the edge slightly at the crease, because I don't want a harsh line between the lid and the crease. So next then I'm taking the shade Earl Grey. I love this shade. I don't have a lot like it in my collection, to be honest. It's kind of a deep, dark blue toned grey with a pearlescent finish to it. And I'm applying this directly over the top of that Universe base. But if you were applying and blending the shade out, it kind of blends out to like a dark teal. It's really cool. It's really unusual, I find. But once I've covered the entire lid, I'm going back in with some more of that malted shade, and I'm just bridging the gap. So I felt that I needed to go in a little bit darker again in the crease, so I'm reapplying that shade in there. I just felt the lid was too dark and the crease was too light, so I just needed a little something in between. So I'm going back and forward again now, fading this shadow out, and then I'm picking back up that original crease brush and going over the edge just to make sure everything is nice and soft and blended. Now to work along the lower lash line, I'm just repeating the same steps as above, pretty much anyway. I'm starting out by applying that Almond Truffle shade using a Vanity Planet bullet shaped brush to blend this shadow down along the lower lash line. Then taking the shade Mocha, adding this down along there, fading it from the outer portion of the eye right into that inner corner. I'm making my way from light to dark now, so going in with the shade Malted, tapping this right in at the lash line, wriggling my brush back and forward, then down along there to fade out the shadow. And finally then I'm taking an angled brush from Sedona Lace and I'm pressing that Earl Grey shade down along the lash line. Initially I'm pressing it right in at the lash bed, and as you can see I'm getting quite a lot of fallout with this shade, and that's where the base above came in really handy. I personally don't like really applying anything creamy under my eye in terms of eye makeup anyway, so I went straight in with that shadow and I just dust away the fallout afterwards and it's fine. So I'm going in now with the KVD Beauty Cake Liner in the shade Trooper. This is just a black liner. I'm closing my eye around the pencil, running it back and forward just so I coat both the top and bottom waterline. Finally then I'm taking that large shade there called Satin Sheets on a small pencil brush from Wet n Wild. This is a really light frosty pink shade and I'm using this as an inner corner highlight. I'm now applying a pair of the Eyelure Bauble lashes, and then I'm using some of the Lancome Lashy Doll mascara. I'm just using this along my bottom lashes just to coat them, and then I'm also using this to blend my own lashes in with the false ones, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you found it helpful and easy to follow. If you did, please do let me know, and if you have any requests, pop them down below, and I'll catch you all in a video really soon.